I would like to acknowledge all Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander peoples, past, present, and emerging, as I am recording on Wurundjeri country. Thank you for joining us.
Marmalade and coffee black. Lesson plans are on the stack. Ready for the students' track. Gonna find our groove.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the fourth episode of Stranger in the Staff Room. I am Zoe Zammit, or as the kiddos called me for the final time today for this year, Miss Zammit, and I am a first-time teacher that shares lifelong stories, so thank you for joining me. Today's episode is a bit of a sad one because it was my final day of my final placement, so everything's getting really real now, and yeah, I haven't really got anything planned. I'm just gonna yap your ear off for a couple of minutes, so yeah, I'm gonna talk about my final day of placement and anything else that comes up. I lie. There is a couple of scheduled things. So the first one I wanted to say is I've got a pop filter for my mic now. So hopefully the sort of feedback that you guys are getting when listening to the podcast is a little more easy to hear and a lot less volume changes. But yeah, we're going to trial that out today and see how that goes. And please stick around till about halfway through the show. I have some huge news to announce that I think all teachers that are listening right now will benefit from, whether it's yourself or through another teacher friend. So yeah, don't go anywhere.
Through the highs and through the lows, we're the ones who always show. Building worlds and making glow the dreams that they pursue.
Alrighty, welcome back everyone. I hope everyone's gotten their teas, their coffees, their hot chockies, gotten their headphones on, ready for a walk, however you relax, which that is the first hint of my surprise in the middle of the show, my big announcement. It has to do with teachers' relaxation. So if you want some of that, which I know you all do, make sure to stick around. Anyways, so let's go through a bit of a recount on my day. So I didn't start on a very good note, I'll be honest. I rocked up very late. I rocked up almost at the end of home group, and it really me off, to be honest, because being on time is not one of my strong suits. Not at all. But I have sort of made a bit of a vow to myself for the rest of the year to discover more about myself and sort of be non-judgmental about it. But we're always going to be judgmental about it. But being more self-aware, I guess. And what I found is a lot of my lateness contributes to either A, I don't want to go, which I knew was false for this because I love placement so much. Or B, that I'm not really comfortable with any changes coming up. And I sort of went through the list of the changes that are coming up in my life, and oh my god, it is doozy. So I think we found our answer as to why I was late. It was because I can't deal well with the transitions of things. So put it this way, I have finished placement today. No, actually, let's rewind. I went from working 7 days a week, so 5 days at placement, 2 days at my casual job, to earn an income because, apparently working full-time on a 0.75 workload isn't enough to earn some money. But anyway, thanks government. So yeah, working 7 days a week and preparing for that and getting through that to school holidays where I did nothing apart from assessments, which meant I didn't have to go anywhere. That wasn't a part of my routine. To all of a sudden we're back to placement, but only 3 days because they're the 3 days I had to catch up. And then we go back to the normal uni schedule, but only for 2 weeks because then you are finished with classes and you are going to do your assessments, but only till the end of the month, and then you're going to have nothing but your casual job. And then once it gets to Christmas holidays, you won't even have that, and everything's going to be so full on because you're trying to relax. See the oxymoron there? The contrast. I'm meant to be doing nothing, but I'm not, because my body doesn't like nothing, apparently. And then I go straight into full time. There's so many changes. So many changes. And I'm having I want to call it like a a 3/4 life crisis in my uni degree. The real world's hitting me. It really is. And yeah, the changes didn't deal well with me today, and I just couldn't get myself out of bed. I was just like, oh my God, this is the beginning of all the changes. I just didn't have the energy to sort of get through it. But anyway, I got there and I sort of used it as a bit of an opportunity. I was like, you know what? If I'm late, I'm late. So I'm going to make my mentor teacher's surprise even more surprising. So I went into our office and put her present down on her desk before going to tutor group, mentor group, home group, whatever you call it. So then when we got back to our desk, it was there. So yeah, I got to tutor group. I really wish I said a proper goodbye to... So in the school that I'm at, there are 2 home group teachers, which I think is really, really beneficial. But anyway, I can talk more about that if you'd like to. Just leave a comment. Yeah, and I really wish I said a proper goodbye, but I didn't have the heart to. I didn't have the courage. And I felt like that all of the past 2 days. Like, I had more anxiety telling my kids that it was my last days with them than actually teaching in front of them for the first time. And that is crazy to me. So, yeah, insane. Anyway, we got back to the desk and, yeah, my teacher saw it and she opened it and she pissed herself laughing. If you want to see what I got her, it is on the Stranger in the Staff Room Instagram. So, yep, just look up Stranger in the Staff Room on Instagram and you will find some no context spoilers in that post. And it's one of the slides there. Yeah, and she was so rapt and she wore the earrings. She wore them for the rest of the day and she drank her tea in her mug. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. And coincidentally, for the kids' valedictory dinner, she bought a dress yesterday that was the colour as the actual jewellery part of her earrings. So she's like, I'm going to wear these. And I'm like, yes, a part of me's going to be there when they're all done. So yeah, it was really cute. So that was really sweet. Gave her a big hug. And then, yeah, the day went about as normal. I have been living off of sugar the past 2 days. Oh my God. Because I bought a bunch of lollies and snacks for the kids for my last lessons with them. So I've sort of just been spreading them out over the past 2 days. So if I've been getting peckish, I've been getting a little crunchy or two. I've been getting a little Coles cookie or two. Plus the M&M cookie packet that I stole before I gave to them. But that's besides the point. Yes, I've just been living off sugar and yeah, my body's taking a toll for it now. That's okay. It was 2 days of celebration. It was what got me through the lack of ability to transition from things. So I'll try and forgive myself for it. But the kids loved it and that's all that mattered. Yeah, so I have been doing that. Just chipping away at the last 2 assessments that I've got. So I will officially be done with assessments by the end of this month. So in November, I will be a free woman. So yeah, that's going to be great. So the ribbon that I made, it was Mum that made it. It was my idea. So I'm going to say I made it. Just kidding, Mum. I love you. So yeah, I got a bunch of fabric, white fabric from Spotlight and got Mum to cut a bit off and sew it. So then it was I want to say 10 centimeter wide bit of cloth. And I got some multicolored Sharpies and I got the kids to write their names on it. So then I can wear it as a hair bow next year when I'm at the school. So then a little piece of them is with me everywhere I go. So if I'm having a hard day, I've got it there. To remind me why I started at the school in the first place. Which I think they thought was really cute. Literally kids were grabbing pens and looking at me, waiting for me to say what I can do with it. What I was going to do with it. And I think that's really cute. Yeah, and it's been great. And yeah, the kids have been so sweet. When you can tell kids are putting something on, I don't think they were putting on a show when I said that I was going. And it was really, honestly, the kids that I didn't expect to be upset were upset. There was obviously kids that I expected, but it's just the underdogs. The underdogs get you. And it was really sweet, to be honest. I didn't want to make them sad, but it was just nice that I made an impact. For example, literally today, one of the kids stood up and said, thank you so much for everything you've done for us. We'll see you next year. And made the class applaud for me. Like, I have a huge ego after that. It's insane. I was standing in the final class and I didn't want to leave. Although I must admit, I was meant to go to a PD session, but I didn't. So maybe I did want to leave. I'm giving you 2 episodes consecutively. So I had a focus one on the GTPA because that's what I've just finished. And then, I'd give you one on my last day of placement. You've been keeping up to date with me throughout the entirety of the placement thus far. It's been incredible. My biggest takeaway from placements is, if you're not sure what you want to do, but you want to go to university, I would highly recommend doing a course that involves a placement, because there's nothing worse than what I hear of people completing degrees and then actually getting out in the workforce and being like, I wish I knew, I didn't like this sooner. A lot of friends of mine were able to, leave the course and change into something else within their second year because they were like, you know what, teaching's not for me because of the placements. So that's my biggest advice on that. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, I will announce the big announcement. I hope you can tell in my voice how excited I am to announce this. So please don't go anywhere. I just want to kick and scream like a little girl just to tell you. So stick around.
Through the highs and through the lows, we're the ones who always show, building worlds and making glow the dreams that they pursue.
Alrighty, everyone, thank you so much for sticking around. Time to announce the big announcement. Drum roll, please. Oh, that was really cringe. Anyway, the announcement is I now have an Etsy shop. Yay! So if you're loving what I'm doing so far, there is another way that you can support me and support others, really. I am introducing as my first resource on the Etsy shop, which, by the way, if you don't know what Etsy is, it is a website that promotes small businesses and almost acts like an eBay for small businesses, if that makes sense. So you will find everything aesthetically pleasing on there. It is a gorgeous website and I love, love, love it. A lot of teachers I found out whilst, building up my podcast, Instagram page, and obviously the podcast as a whole, I found out that a lot of teachers make their own resources and sell them. And it's really clever, really clever. The only sort of platform that I knew that did that was Twinkle, which they're really good, especially for primary school teachers. And then there's Teachers Pay Teachers, which is good for all year levels. I'm yet to buy something off there though, but I have been window shopping. So they're the only 2 platforms that I've known of that do that. But I didn't know people, teachers did it off their own back. And I was having a look through and y'all are clever, really clever. There's one teacher that I follow that makes Monopoly games that you can personalize for your classes. How cool is that? Is so cool. I'm an only child, so the idea of a board game really excites me. Anybody with siblings listening to this will be like, nerd. But it's the little things that make me joyful. So the first resource that I have released on the Etsy shop is the Teacher Detox Toolkit. Now, I want to share with you why I've made this before I tell you what it is. So the Teacher Detox Toolkit, I made it because I have a big passion in mental health, and especially the mental health of children, and that's why I got into teaching. Because I knew how a good teacher could impact my mood positively and how much a bad teacher could impact my mood negatively. And you really think about it, teachers are with students more than their parents when it's during, the school terms. So I started getting into teaching because of that. And then when I started looking through these teacher resources that people were making, I'm like, this is so cool. These kids are going to have such beautiful experiences. And I'm like, well, hang on. Australia is going through a teacher decline, a desperation for teachers, a teacher drought, if you will. where people are quitting in the first 5 years of teaching full time. And, I look at my placements and the future ahead of me, and I can't imagine myself doing that. But when you hear some of these stories from teachers, I get it. Like, the work outside of school hours, the students sort of not seeing you as a person sometimes, it's really difficult. Well, because teachers really care for their students, like, the whole reason I got into teaching, they find it really hard to put boundaries up of when to look after themselves and then when to look after their kids. And, this is something that I have been struggling with my whole life, really, when to focus on me and when to focus on others. I've been going to therapy for it for years. I feel like I'm in a comfortable position to say I know what I'm doing now, but I am going into a full-time teaching role next year, so that could all change. But as of recording, I am feeling good within myself about boundaries. So I wanted to make a resource that helps teachers put the self back in self-fulfillment, because everyone says that teaching is a self-fulfilling job. It is rewarding and, extrinsically and intrinsically motivating. And I agree 100%, but we don't want that flame to die out in our teachers. We want these teachers to continue that passion, to have those long-lasting relationships with their kids. So, introducing the Teacher Detox Toolkit. I know it's not going to solve every teacher's problems, but it might be something fun for them to, take their mind off things for a while. And I got inspiration from places like Typo and Smiggle, which made me love stationery, like be such a stationery nerd, because they turned mundane things into something fun. Like, I took a lot of inspiration from Typo's activity journal, where there's just random pages for you to scribble on and rip out and, talk about your best friend, or like all this random stuff that you wouldn't, believe to do in your real life without that book. So I took a lot of inspiration from that, but I also, took my own personal sort of research, if you will, about these mindfulness journals, and I follow Mark Manson. He is a wonderful author, a self-help author and podcaster, and he's right. A lot of these mindfulness journals aren't really targeting what really, matters. And that's why, it's fun to do, but it actually doesn't improve your mental health. So I've tried to combine that fun from those stationary resources that I said before and the validity of these sort of activities, and I've put them into the Teacher Detox Toolkit. Now, some things that it includes are class schedules, so to keep your organisation in mind, weekly logs, which, is almost like a bit of a gratitude journal, but also forces you to, think of your to-do list and the things you're going to do to take care of yourself over the weekends. And there's some creativity in there, there's drawing, there's colouring, and there's also pages to have a rant. And I'm not joking when I say you can burn these pages. So you can buy a resource to burn it. I am giving you permission. Just don't set everything else on fire. Thank you. So I also have these have a rant pages, which it is like completely up to you how you want to use them. Rant about anything, whether it's teacher related or not, and then find a way to get that energy out, whether it's ripping that page, whether it's scribbling it out, do whatever you so please. And, that still gets your metacognition happening. So you're thinking of thinking while also making it fun. And I've made it pretty. So to sum up the Teacher Detox Toolkit, it is putting the self back into self-fulfillment through mindfulness and metacognition, okay? And it is teacher-directed, because sometimes teachers feel a little bit alone. I know I felt alone. So this is sort of a resource to remind you that you're not. My Etsy shop, unfortunately, Stranger in the Staff Room, is too long of a name on Etsy. So if you look up SITSR, so SITSR, short for Stranger in the Staff Room, my shop will come up, and you can either buy the digital resource, which is just the PDF pages, or the hard copy, which is made to order, and I put in the hard work, I print it, I bind it, I get that all pretty and send it off to you. The digital version is $15 and the hard copy version is $60. So If you're on a budget, highly recommend the digital version. You'll be getting just as much content as the hard copy version. If you, for example, want to gift it to someone, or, you just are a bit time constricted, then I would recommend the hard copy version. And we've got one design at the moment, but we've got more coming soon. So if you like what you see right now, please buy it. But for example, if you're looking for something a little bit more masculine, for my male teachers out there, we love you, boos. There will be more coming soon. So I'm so excited because I started this resource and have been able to finish it just before Christmas. So hint, hint, if you've got any teacher friends, if you're not a teacher yourself, you've got a perfect gift for them right here. So SITSR on Etsy. And I will also be putting it on my link tree in my Instagram, just in case you have the memory of a goldfish like me. Alrighty, that is me done. You're probably wondering, hang on a minute, what's Zoe going to be talking about if she's finished placement? Well, that is where you guys come in. I have a Google form, which I will pop into the show notes. It's also in my link tree on Instagram. So the link in my bio on Instagram. And if you've ever worked with kids, whether you're a teacher, a nurse, a babysitter, whatever, even if you're a parent, anyone who has worked with children before, I want to hear your stories, whether they're good, bad, or ugly. Pop them into this forum and you have the chance to get them shared. And there's also an option to keep yourself anonymous if you are worried about that. So yeah, I really want to hear your contributions, and I will have more episodes of funny students say as well. And I'll just keep you up to date on my uni progression and preparing for the biggest year of my life, 2025. So yeah, thank you so much. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Make sure to follow the podcast if you're on Spotify, and if you're loving it, a 5-star review would go down a treat. Thank you so much. This is Stranger in the Staff Room, over and out.
Teaching vibes were in the air, sharing knowledge everywhere, guiding young minds with such care. This is what we do.